So we've got the same basic shape. One of the cool things about making a ceramic pumpkin is the fact that you can make it any shape that you want. You go to the pumpkin patch, wherever it happens to be, and you sometimes spend an hour, well, I spend an hour looking for that perfect pumpkin. It's got to be the right shape. Maybe I want a little tall one. Maybe it needs to be perfectly round. Whatever your flavor is as far as what shape your pumpkin's going to be, you have to go around and find it. Well, the nice thing about clay is that I can make this any shape that I want, all right? So if I want, I can roll this a couple more times, okay? And now it's gotten a little bit taller, all right? If I want to get a little bit shorter, okay, just gonna give it a couple of taps with my hand. I've got this wooden paddle that I can also use, all right? And as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit wider. Okay, notice that as I press down this way, the clay is going to stretch a little bit because I'm compressing the air, and the air can't go up or down because I'm pushing it down. It's gonna go wide, and so it's gonna make that a little bit wider. So whatever shape it is that you want, just keep in mind, do it gradually, okay? If I do push too hard, you can kind of see where that seam is. I can smooth that out with my finger later, but it is putting a little bit of stress on it, and it could possibly cause it to burst. And if that's the case, that's not a good thing, okay? All right, now, if it does actually crack and you get a little bit of a hole in your project, okay? I went ahead and made one just so you can kind of see this, all right? And I'm tapping it, it will deflate, okay? And now I know I said clay isn't like a balloon, however, if you blow on it slightly, it will blow back up. Now this only works for the first little bit, especially while the clay is a little bit on the soft side, but it's one of those cheap party tricks that the kids seem to get a kick out of, so I had to show you guys that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and shape this the way I want it, okay? Just kind of form it, just kind of move it around, manipulate it with your hands, however it is that you want, okay? And then what I want you to do is, and I know this is kind of counterintuitive to what you do with a real pumpkin, but find what you consider to be the front, okay? And we're gonna kind of give it a couple of taps so that it's flat. But what we wanna do is tilt it backwards a little bit, okay? So that it's almost like the pumpkin's looking up. And you might be going, well, why are we gonna do that? Well, where do you normally display a pumpkin? On your porch, right? And a porch is usually down on the ground. And if it's down on the ground, there's a good chance that people are going to be looking down at it. And if your pumpkin is tilted up like this and facing the down or facing just straight ahead, it's really difficult to see the actual face that you've created. So if we tilt it back a little bit, that means that the pumpkin's gonna be looking up at us, and therefore we'll be able to see it. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this as far as the shape goes. I think that's gonna be about right, okay? Any of these little cracks, we can smooth those out with a little bit of water on our fingers. Use as little water as possible. Don't use a lot, okay? The more water you use, the softer it's gonna become. The softer it becomes, the more it's gonna be difficult to handle. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our tongue depressor that we use to smooth that together, smooth our two pieces together, and we're gonna use the edge of it this time, and I'm just gonna start here at the bottom, and I'm gonna press it into the side, okay, so that it comes up the side. I'm gonna rotate it, okay, and I'm gonna press it into the side until it kind of meets the middle. Now, I don't know if there's any of these lobes or how many lobes a pumpkin has. I don't think there is a set number. I think it just happens to be whatever it grows to be. But we're gonna do this and space them fairly evenly apart because ultimately we want this to look like a pumpkin, a real pumpkin. Okay, we're kind of trying to fool people into believing that it's an actual pumpkin. I'm just gonna go right there. Now these didn't meet at the top. I'm just gonna go ahead and continue those on. You can see that. Now you might develop some cracks, as you can see, as I'm moving this around and manipulating it, the cracks will form. You know, just kind of keep in mind, you can always smooth those out a little bit later. Now a real pumpkin doesn't have lines drawn in it like this, all right? This is just the first part of it. As this gets leather hard and it becomes a little bit more firm, I'm gonna show you guys a way to make those look a little bit more realistic.